to meet you, Scott.
Yeah, I just I was watching, did some search on YouTube and I found
so
that's how you found me on YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Literally, love your enthusiasm towards everything.
Okay.
Just
Yeah, that's good.
Well.
Finally, people are starting to see my YouTube videos because I have like hundreds of them.
Yeah, I noticed you had loads actually. But you've done quite a bit recently actually, haven't you?
Yeah, trying to switch things up a bit. What do y'all think about the view here, huh?
It's lovely, isn't it? Yeah, it's amazing.
This yard?
Yeah. And people were jumping on it and then it's going up a little bit and down, up, down, like massively, yeah.
Yeah, I don't see how they let Elon Musk like release that truck either. I was like, somebody had to like, they were like, yeah, I'm just gonna let them do it and just like sell the stuff. Like a bunch of sell-out orders.
Didn't it?
Yeah, it did, dude. It tanked.
Yeah, when I was on the training, there was a newspaper in front of me, so far as I was through, and I saw so this was Friday's newspaper, and it was showing one of his rockets that was supposed to be man-carrying up to wherever, back to his planet. And it blew up, so he's had a right 24 hours, yeah. So he's had a plane blowing up and then someone smashing his brand new shipmobile. Yeah.
When I started, reading Tony Robbins and all the self-development people, yeah, for sure. But I was like, dude, just tell me how to make money. Like, they're just like telling you should work on yourself and be better and better and better. And the more that I continue to do that, the better my life becomes. So that's how I deal with like the pressures of trading or taking a loss, and which I definitely do, or taking a huge win, which happens as well. To be able to be like, I'm gonna still do this tomorrow and be focused, helps me to be more even keel,
I take it as you win some, you lose some, you learn, and you grow yourself.
Yeah.
And you learn yourself.
Yeah, and it'd be different if I didn't put as much effort, at the end of the day, if you really, really fucking try, you can at least be like, man, I did my best today, and it's not always gonna work out. And trading's like the ultimate, it's the ultimate teacher, for sure.
Roller coaster.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I mean, the thing is, like, I always talk about, like, really looking at the big picture, like playing the long game. Like one way or the other, I'm like, if you can get clear on what it is that you want out of life and really start to move towards that, and keep pushing forward, like eventually the universe is gonna be like, this guy's not gonna give up, you know what I mean? And like actually give you a little carrot to nibble on and keep pulling you along. There's no ceiling. It's a good thing about this,
But for me, I think I need to ditch all social media, because that's unfortunately the Achilles heel of things when you see what other people do. Yeah. And that's what's nice for yourself, to bring that down right back to reality and go, you know what, let's just go for a walk with the dog in the woods.
Yeah.
And chill. This is life. That's not life.
Right.
And that for me, and spending time with a lad, watching him play football, to be that parent that's supportive and always there, that for me is much more than earning X amount of pounds. You know what I mean? So that means so much.
Try to help you guys meet your goals, man.
Do you want to do my challenge for me?
Yeah. I'll try, dude. It's hard. Yeah, I would give my best, but I mean, I can't guarantee I'd pass that.
But if you would.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think all y'all should try to do exactly what you're doing, because it's a target. You know what I mean? Because it's super hard if you're like, man, I'm gonna put $200 in here, 300. I lost a lot of money when I started just doing that, because I put $50 in at a time and lose it, and it adds up after a while. So like just taking the time to really learn on a demo and then do exactly what Scott's doing, or Andrew from the group I know is doing it, Steven Austin I know is doing it, Mitch. Yeah, there's like 5 people, which is really means a lot to me because, you know, I've taken a stab at, you know, making it a profession, you know. The thing is, you know, like hundreds of people have joined my group. There's like a 5 to, you know, 6% that have stuck around. And you know, I've never, Sikander, you've been in there a long time. I've never like sugarcoated it ever. That it takes a long time.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm always, and you know,
You're honest. You're honest.
and just trading on a demo account is huge.
That's what I recommend, like trading on a demo.
Blue.
It's
Afternoon.
Steven, what's up?
Alex, see you there. I'll shake it one down.
Thanks for coming, buddy.
Richard,
Sikander.
Mike. Hi, Mike.
Right, Stephen, Simon.
Scott, I just messaged you actually. I'll just see yours.
You made it.
That there.
James.
Mate. I think that's everyone. Yeah.
There's some tea and coffee and stuff.
Oh, I'll grab something in a minute, yeah.
So yeah, we're actually just, I mentioned we were talking about Scott and getting funded and working on the challenges and
Yeah.
stuff, and I mentioned that we were
Yeah,
on that same path.
that is the plan. That is the plan next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing the demos now for probably about the last 3 months because they are absolutely awesome at discipline.
Yeah.
You know, if that was my biggest problem, like everyone else, probably about the discipline.
Mhm.
But just doing the demos teaches just not to overtrade because you're going to blow your daily loss targets and then your weekly.
Yeah.
And then I think if you get funded, then some of those targets get taken away anyway.
Is it really?
Yeah, so the profit target and the profitable days target get taken away if you get funded.
So are you doing the FTMO?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Mm.
Yeah, that's the plan that Andrew sent through. It looks pretty good.
Most people, you know, it's have no idea about how the actual politics
You don't smell
and
them,
relates
don't
to
you?
everything else going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So you guys even being here and learning about it's huge. You know, people in the United States, they don't teach any of this stuff in the United States at all. You know, they teach about Christopher Columbus and stuff, that kind of thing. You know, the learning it's you gotta, unless you go to, you know, school for it, and even then, you know, you're not going to be learning about trading strategies.
We don't want to learn about MC equals squared. We want to learn about this.
Yeah.
So you can go on like proper courses, can't you? They cost an absolute fortune, don't they?
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's like 45k.
Yeah,
or something.
Like,
Oh, most like trading courses.
Yeah.
50 grand I've seen so.
Yeah, really expensive.
Yeah, and $3.99 is really not that bad. But it's not even about the course; it's the amount of time that goes into learning. You know, the most important thing that any trader can do is develop their own style in trading because it's everybody's different. The way I grew up is different. The way Scott grew up, and you know, different like conditioning and all that stuff goes into the way we look at the markets and charts and all that. So like. Develop, you know, having the goal to be like, I want to approach this in a certain way and figure out what that way is super important, you know, and mine's becoming more like it's changed over time too, to, you know, really like determining what the risk and market sentiment is, what the overall market sentiment is, and then trading off of that and on more like an intraday. Right now it's just super hard because nothing's moving more than like 20 pips. It's not. So it's probably one that it makes it more difficult to learn right now, but is good because you can use it to be like, I'm gonna, you know, really stick the entries here and be patient, and learn when to take profits and stuff. It's hard because people come into the group and they'll expect it to move 100 pips every time they put a trade, and it's just, that's not even happening right now. A year and a half ago, like, you know, the pound was moving 100 pips like every day. And it was not easier, but, you know, the markets were way more loose, and, you know, it's better to, it was I don't know how you would say it, but it was just not easier, because it's never easy, but you had a little more leeway. But now it's like, on Friday, I sent out a signal that was a sell stop for eurusd, and it just nailed it, and then went right back to entry. It was like, it went like 18 pips and then went back. I was just like, dude, this is just ridiculous. Like, and I normally I never send those trades. It's like
There were strong results as well, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I think it did hit 20 pip, target, but for it to just be 20 pips and then that be all she wrote, man, it's just frustrating. So, but you have to like learn what to take what the market gives you. I'm starting to look more like daily. I've always looked daily, but weekly charts. I did a video the other day that was like talking about using a weekly chart to determine an overall bias for way you think it's going to go, and then being like, okay, so I'm bullish pound dollar. So even now it just got hammered on Friday, right? But it's at 128.30, I think, right now. And then it could be, I still think that now it's just a great time to buy, because it's still broken out of a huge wedge, or a huge downtrend's broken out. That's a great buying opportunity because the breakout is still there. And so then you can use that to continue to buy dips.
I think G.
Sorry for this. That's good. Yeah, CAD. Yeah, fuck CAD.
Yeah, I mean, it's great when you can be in person with other people and like trade together. I mean, it'd be cool if you guys could do that, have a group here. But I just looked at pound CAD. I think it looks good. I still think the pound's going to be, well, I guess you guys have that election coming up, so it's in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, so.
December 12th.
Yeah.
How good.
You think anything's going to even happen? I mean,
Well, the banks will know.
yeah, exactly. Well, and that's what you're talking about. Your analysis was correct, and CAD just didn't happen right.
Yeah.
But I mean, and I think you said like who knew or something like that. It's like other people, everybody else is looking at it too, and that's why it didn't happen until Thursday or Friday.
It happens all the time though, like before big news events, all the bank is so like
especially with NFP and
they all know what, because none of the banks are going to want to buy at the highest price or sell at the lowest. They want to get the best price, so they know when it's come up to a news event and it's all the way up in the gods. You know it's not going to go back like even higher from there really.
Going the other way, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of, you have to kind of look at it from big boys' point of view, from the banks.
Well, I mean, especially right now with everything going on, and I mean the manipulation of the market with the whole trade negotiations, and Donald Trump and the tweets and all that stuff. It's just getting crazy. I mean, it's nuts, and there's I've talked about him quite a bit, and then Ray Dalio, and I think Yasser's shared some of his stuff. He wrote a book called Principles that I would recommend all you guys read. It's a great book, and he's the founder of Bridgewater, which is the biggest hedge fund in the world, like $80 billion, and yeah. It's crazy, but he talks a lot about fundamentals and what's going on right now in terms of like debt and credit and the huge, massive bubble we're in, and which has been like the fuel for me to really like gold. If you go on YouTube and go down his rabbit hole, it's pretty good.
Everyone's in a big credit bubble.
Yeah.
Massively. I think in the UK, I can't remember where it was.
In the States, it's ridiculous.
Like the numbers.
Which Amazon paid 0 in tax last year. 2018, Jeff Bezos made $150 million a day.
Wow.
I know that's absurd. Which I mean, hey, I don't want to pay that much in taxes, but he should pay something because
I think you'll be alright.
Yeah, I think you'll be alright.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and that's the thing though, is that like the economy has just been so ramped up with credit and buying and companies buying back their own stocks and stuff, that as soon as somebody does pull that, like, you guys have Jenga here?
Yeah.
Alright, yeah, somebody pulls that Jenga, the piece out of the bottom, dude, it's gonna be a hard fall. Last year, the S&P took a huge tumble like December 16th.
So this in the chat.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, everything's pretty cyclical. It's the same time as like everybody's getting their hearts ripped out by Bitcoin. They're like buying it at 18,000 and
See if we get a Santa rally again.
yeah.
It
I mean,
didn't happen last year, did it? I think
no, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
It was the opposite.
Yeah.
I
So
think when it had a big crash down, but I think when it reopened, one of the days it had like a 1,000-point rally. I
yeah,
think, wasn't it?
Mhm.
I can't remember what day it was, but yeah, it was around Christmas.
afterwards,
I
yeah.
think
Yeah.
I think it was either last year, December, or the year before. I was shorting the FTSE and it just kept on going up. And it hit 7,850 or something like that. That was painful.
Yeah, trying to get the top sometimes is a bastard.
You know, if all this stuff happens that exactly like what we're talking about, gold's going to be the best hedge for economic Armageddon, you know, and I think that makes perfect sense to me. On a technical level too, because it's already broken out, that it could easily go. It just looks like it's consolidating for another push higher because the sell-offs stopped for the most part. For it to start selling off again, there's going to have to be another catalyst, which trade deal going through. But as soon as the trade deal does go through, that's kind of all the ammo they got. You know what I mean? Which I saw, like Trump had tweeted something about then trade negotiations with Europe. I was like, oh, that's his backup plan. You know what I mean? Then he's gonna keep on doing the whole trade deal and with, you know, going to war with
We're run out of countries.
What's that?
Run out of places.
Yeah. I think the biggest, thing is his health and him living much longer. To be honest. Yeah, I mean he's like 78.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Looks good for 78 though, doesn't it?
What's that?
I mean, he looks quite good for 78. doesn't
I
he?
mean,
Too bad.
maybe after he puts like his face on, it probably takes a couple hours and his wig and like all the other stuff.
Isn't Corbyn around the same age?
I don't know, to be honest.
He looks older, though, doesn't he?
You know that scene in Star Wars where he's like puts on the helmet and he's like in a chair? Probably something like that, you know, it's in like a cryogenic tube. Once I got clean, it's been an uphill and journey all the way. I was like, dude, I got to do something different with my life. You know, I was like ski bomb, and you know, and then just ended up following like the Grateful Dead and Fish, and different bands and stuff. And then once I had a bit of a spiritual awakening, it was in 2012, and I started my hand in studying following different people and following different entrepreneurs, following different spiritual teachers and stuff like that. And a bunch of stuff happened, and you know, I got clean and then not. And 2015, I like was assaulted, like super bad, face destroyed. It's kind of a long story, but after that, I'd already been putting my hand in business and studying different markets and different marketing and different ways I could make it. And then once that happened, then that was in like January of 2015. After that happened, I'd relapsed, almost died, and then was like, I have to figure something out. And that was the catalyst. And that's one thing I wanted to talk to you all about, like whatever it is. For me, that was my down moment. And I've had a bunch of them since then, but like if you can learn to use those things as fuel, because obviously you're here today, that you have enough belief in yourself that, man, it is worth it. You know, I could be watching the football game. Could be what, you know, I could, right? Scott's getting like updates over there. Like, yeah. But you know what I mean? But you're not. You're here and you're talking about, you know, we've been hanging out for like 2 hours just talking about trading and that kind of thing. So whatever it is that you're coming from, or trauma, right? Everybody's got a story like that. You can use that for fuel and belief in yourself that, you know, it is possible. And so that's when I started, and then I was, you know, did everything every beginner does, following different people, blowing accounts, trying to go to different forums and groups. You know, I joined like a multi-level marketing trading thing, and then I was like, then I eventually, about 2 years into it, started at a different prop deal like Scott, and that's how I actually started to learn. And that was in 2017, and then not too long after that, I started this group. And that's it in like the abridged version. Yeah, and I mean, it's been up and down, and man, I you know, make mistakes and fail and all that stuff. The most important thing has been, the one constant thing is that I continually try to work on myself and listen to different audiobooks and follow different people. I write down my goals every day. And that was one thing, if I could give you guys an exercise that you wanted to learn how to do, that I do every day on my good days. You know, we could do it. I talk about it in the training about writing your goals out in future and past tense. And so there's two things I do in the morning, if you guys can set enough time for it. I kind of do, I have a bunch of like notebooks like this. And in the morning, I write down more like I am statements about myself and the way I want to be. You know, I am unstoppable, I am strong, I am, you know, confident, I am capable, I'm consistent. And, you know, just like all of these stuff. I don't think about it, but all the things my ideal self would be or would want to be. You know, if you do this every day for 2 years, where do you think you would be in 2 years? So if you write things from what I've read, and this just works for me, if you write it as an am statement in present or past, your brain can't determine the difference in like your subconscious. So it will go out trying to search out the things that make that true. Tony Robbins talks about it a lot. It's called the reticular activating system. And so like, if you buy a car and it's a Honda or something, before you didn't notice all the Hondas on the road, but then you buy a car and you're like, damn, everybody has a Civic around here. You know what I mean? Because all of a sudden you're thinking about it. And so if you're thinking about, you know, prosperity and wealth and like, not really thinking about it, but you're saying these statements over and over and over again, your brain is going to start searching out those people and places. And so it's kind of like a law of attraction thing, but it's just, and that's what works for me at least. And so in the morning, I write down a series of I am statements. Takes 2 minutes. I don't think about it. I try to just like, and most mornings are the same. Some mornings are different. And then after that, I write down my goals. And they're just monster goals. You know what I mean? And I write them like they've already happened or they are happening. And so like, yeah, you know, they're your goals, right? They don't have to tell them to anybody. And I talk about this in the training. You know, like if I wrote down, you know, I'll land on Mars and put a colony there, and I was like, you found that notebook at a restaurant, you'd be like, this fucking guy said he's gonna put him, what a fucking idiot, right? But then like Elon Musk walks out of the bathroom, he's like, oh shit, I forgot my notebook. He might actually do that. But the only thing that separates us from most people, and the reason why most people don't get anywhere, is because they don't think big enough. Because it takes the same amount of effort to make, you know, 150,000 as it does to make 50,000. And a lot of times, the more higher you go, the less effort it does take. I mean, it's hard as fuck to scrape by, because I've been there, and still there sometimes. You know what I mean? So like, if you can start writing these down, and like they've already happened, and if you did this 720 times in a year, which would be morning and night, how much closer do you think you would be than the average Joe out there? Probably a lot closer, right? So that's, I do that in the morning, I do that at night, in the morning, I am, and then goals. And then at the end of the day, I write down my victories, which are just small things, because the way we win is through a series of small victories every single day. Rarely do we have a just monster, you know, sometimes this happen, but not often. So for me, it's like, you know, I woke up and ran with the dog for 2 miles, you know, went to the gym, ate healthy, played with the kids, you know what I mean? All this stuff, because, and then when you do something that's clearly not a victory, you're like, oh God, that wasn't thinking, you know what I mean? And that becomes more apparent. And so this is actually a practice of just self-examination. But if I don't do that and don't recognize it, I don't give myself any credit, because my default mode is to beat myself up. And so once I started to not do that and give myself some credit, then it's like, oh wait, yeah, I have like a building block to, and this exercise has really helped my self-esteem. When you're writing this stuff down, when you're thinking about it, throw another 0 on there, because it just, one, if $1 million was your goal, and you start writing down $10 million, and you make it to 3, well, 5. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, but the thing is that the exercise here is to train yourself to think bigger and what's possible, because that's really the way Jeff Bezos thinks about, you know, what's possible, how to create a company, is way different than most people. Overthinking, what's it like? Paralysis by analysis. You ever heard that?
Yeah.
You know, you overthink something, it just creates more procrastination. So, you know, it's just obviously having. So what I call those are targets. So you have your just overall kind of vision for your life. It doesn't at all have to be anything material, you know, but your vision for your life, and then you have kind of your daily targets. What are you aiming for the day? And one last thing, and I don't write this every day, but I did this after I read the Ray Dalio book, Principles. And then so I think it's important, and I'm reading another book called How to Think Like a Roman Emperor. Somebody from the group recommended it. It's like it's about the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius and how to think like a Stoic philosopher. And one of the big Stoic principles is self-examination. And like the idea of Stoicism, I know I'm getting way out of here, way out there, but is to live by a certain set of virtues and try to hit that in a realistic way every day. So I had to ask myself, like, what are my virtues? And you know, I've done this list a few different times. I actually did this on the plane over here. And you know, I'll give you an example if you want to go home and do this. So like mine are clarity, and when you define what like clarity is, for example, not the definition of that, but what does that mean to me, right? So, and for me, that means to be able to see things objectively, because obviously that helps in trading for sure, but you know, in life, you know, when you're too biased one way or the other, really it just creates more chaos and more friction. My other ones are consistency, and so what that means to me is to show up no matter how I feel, which, you know, I do that every day. You guys see me up there, like a lot of times I don't want to shoot a video, for sure, you know what I mean? But I do, because I know it helps you guys. To give my best effort at work, at life, with my family, friends, my relationships, and to be fully involved, to me is what the virtue of consistency would be in my life. Ease to other people who come into contact with me, and allows them the opportunity to be comfortable. You know, I'm pretty good at that one. I think it's one of my strengths. Devotion, my devotion to God, what, you know, the vision of the universe, you know, it's different for everybody, or it's not. And devotion to my family, and to my customers and followers and friends. And responsibility. And so what your principles are obviously going to be different than mine, but taking 20 minutes to figure it out is super important, at least has been to me. Responsibility, being in charge of finding my dreams and making them happen. Responsibility to take care of my business, my health, my relationships, and realizing that, you know, I'm responsible for everything. At the end of the day, I am responsible. You know what I mean? You know that. You know that from Side Group.
I know that video.
Yeah. I learned that from Side Group.
Awesome video.
Yeah.
Recommend that.
Yep. And that right there has changed my life. And then the last one is, you know, fun. The principle of fun. Not to take life too seriously, because, you know, if and when I die, right, it's going to be like, to the rest of the universe, it's going to be like a grasshopper died out there by the tube station. In reality, you know what I mean? And so that is the fact of living in a huge universe that's infinite. So me taking my shit too seriously was a big problem for me, and you know, worry, depression, anxiety, and it led me to, you know, fuel downward spiral of drugs and alcohol. You know what I mean? And then the purpose behind this list is then I can check back in the middle of the day and be like, am I living with responsibility? Am I fun or too uptight right now? Do I have ease about me? Am I being consistent? And so I can check back in with my principles and virtues and stuff. So those three exercises, and that was the one thing, I'm glad you asked the question, because it brought me into this, is that if I could teach you guys anything about what has helped me, I know that had, it seems like nothing to do with trading, but the mindset about life is the one thing, because, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you might not, trading and being on this journey could lead you somewhere else where you maybe, you know, would make more sense. But if you're in like a seeker searching mode, that's the best place for you to be. Most people aren't in any type of searching mode, searching what's on TV. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what most people are doing. And if you can like really, and a lot of times for me to do this every day, or most days, is like pulling teeth, dude. I don't want to, you know, it's like 11 o'clock at night, I need to go to sleep. But that's when I need to do those types of things the most. And if I could depart anything on you all today of what's helped me the most is this little exercise right here. In the morning, write down I am statements about myself that my ideal self would be, then writing my goals. At the end of the day, writing my victories, gratitude, and then writing my goals. And then getting clear on what my principles are. It can change next week, you know what I mean? So, yeah.